All right, welcome back, guys. So we're gonna keep on working on this thing. We're moving on to some of the drivetrain stuff. So I'll give you guys an overview here. Pulled the front suspension apart. I don't want to bore you guys with that. It's mostly just dealing with parts that are stuck on, but we got the front torn apart. But we're still waiting on a couple things on that, so we're gonna skip over that for now. The engine was occasionally losing prime while we were working on it because it has been sitting for 5 years. So we pulled the injector lines off and I did the crossover tube O-rings. It's a pretty common thing. When they start losing prime, those O-rings are letting air in the injectors. I've had it happen a couple times now. So we did new O-rings on the crossover tubes, painted the covers while they were off just because the paint had fallen off and they looked like crap. Changed the engine oil yesterday. We changed the rear diff fluid also. I'm waiting to do the front diff once we get the suspension back on it. But right now I just drained the transfer case and the transmission. We're working on the transmission right now. I'll show you guys what we got. The truck had an issue when I quit driving it. It was it would stick in second. It wouldn't downshift to first when you came to a stoplight, which signs of the governor pressure solenoid and sensor. So we just drained the fluid. We just swapped these out. These are the new ones. So we're getting ready. I'm gonna put the pan back on. Once we get that back on, we'll fill this with fluid and then fill the transfer case with fluid also. And then the only thing we got left is the front diff. So this truck will have new fluids everywhere. So we're finishing that up now. For the front suspension, we are doing Thurin 3-inch coils with his Thurin overland shocks, and Dodge Off-Road extended control arms. Though I'm waiting on the control arms right now, that's why this is sitting here. Control arms should be shipping out this week, but the whole front end's getting redone. And then the rears, it's getting some Carly mini packs, and those shipped yesterday from CJC. There's a bit of a wait from Carly, but those just shipped out, so those should be here, I think on Thursday, they said. The new shocks are on the back. I already did that just to get that done. So rear shocks are on, painted the diff cover while we had it apart, got the rear hitch put back on. We did cut we didn't cut the exhaust, we changed it. It had a full exhaust out the back, but we pulled this coupler apart here, took the tailpipe off and just moved the exhaust tip to there. I didn't want it dragging on the ground and I didn't really want to see it. So that's just sitting there now. I like the look of that a lot better. You're not going to see it under the truck. We did put the muffler back on though. It was a straight piped truck. And now that this is going to be a woods truck and off-road truck, it was obnoxious a little bit. The muffler is a little too quiet. My other Dodge has a 5-inch exhaust with a muffler, and it's a lot louder. It sounds what I wish this truck sounded like. So maybe this will get a 5-inch with a little bit smaller muffler eventually, but not right now. So that's where we are on this. I'm gonna get the transmission put back together. We're gonna get that filled with fluid, get the transfer case filled, and then I don't know where we're gonna go for the rest of the day. I still gotta paint the tailgate, the fuel door, and the grill, but that's that we'll do last. I want to get the truck done before we do final assembly and stuff on that. So we'll paint that stuff later this week. So I'll keep you guys updated. A little update on the rear end, the bed's back on. Update on the rear end, we got the mini packs put in. Down here, everything's all put in. Still gotta torque the U-bolts, but rear end is done, should be squared away. The mini packs, there's 5 leafs here, and they just replaced the one overload, the one big overload. And then I got rid of the 2 upper overload springs also, because this truck will never tow anything. If it does tow, it's just going to be small utility trailers. It doesn't need the overloads anymore. So the rear shocks are on, and the Carly mini packs are on. So the rear end's all squared away. Tires are hanging out here in the back, which I'll show you those guys once we get them put on the truck here in a couple weeks. But that's all done. Trucks, we had a big windstorm last night, so the truck's full of crap. But we're gonna start putting the control arms on right now. They're hooked together, but we get these apart. These are adjustable control arms from Core 4x4. These things are crazy beefy. I really am happy with them. And they got them to me quick. They didn't have anything in stock when I ordered them. I ordered them on a Sunday, and they had them built, powder coated, and shipped from Utah to Seattle by Friday. That's 5-6 days. They built, powder coat, and shipped them from Utah to my house. I mean, I can't be any happier than that. These things are huge. They got forged Johnny joints on each end, upper and lower. The lengths right now are just kind of roughed. The bottom is about 3/4 of an inch longer than stock, and the upper is about 1/4 inch longer. So we're just gonna eyeball that. We'll still have to adjust them once we get the springs and everything in for camber, but we're gonna start with that. We're going a little over 1/2 inch because on the front of the truck we're gonna have all the clearance we need up here in the front, because it's not gonna have a stock bumper, so we're gonna have the bumper is only gonna come down a couple inches, so we have plenty of room to move the axle forward. So that's why we're trying to the tires are a little big. I don't mind having to hammer in the pinch weld, but I don't want to have to cut if I can avoid it. So we're gonna try pushing them forward just to avoid cutting if possible. So I'm gonna get started on that, and I'll keep you guys updated as I get them in. Okay, quick another update. So we got I put tires on just to check fitment, but shocks are in, shock towers are on, everything's torqued down. Track bar is also in. It's a Thurin 3rd gen track bar with a 3rd gen conversion bracket over here. No issues fitting, bolted right up. Looks really good. I'm happy with it. I have this same setup on my other truck, so on my 3rd gen, same track bar, and we've ran a couple Thurin track bars on a bunch of trucks, and we've never once had an issue with them. So actually, even our springs area, we've never had an issue with a Thurin product, so that's why everything on this truck was Thurin when possible. But all I got left on the front now is put the steering back in. That's probably not going to get done. I'm just going to put stock tires back on and set it on the ground, and it will just sit for, unfortunately, a couple weeks till we get home. But let me show you the tires. Tires clear. Not very well. They clear. They're going to need some trimming though to flex. They are a Nitto Ridge Grappler. It's a 37-13.5 17-inch wheel with the Method 17 by 8.5 zero offset NVs in the special edition red, which I love the red. I wasn't sure how it would turn out. The pictures are kind of deceiving. It looks like a very boring red, but in the sunlight it changes color so much. It's a red, I think it's red anodizing with a tinted clear coat, so when you turn it in the sun you can actually see the color change. Because of the tinted clear coat, it changes from a really bright red to a dark red depending how the light's hitting it. But fitment wise, they do clear. I mean, I can almost get a finger in there. So what we're gonna end up doing, I'm just gonna end up probably pounding this all the way around, pounding all this in, and then I'll probably trim right down to this bolt, just trim a little bit here and trim up and just fill this whole thing in, but not too worried about that. I do want to be able to flex this truck to its potential. up on some of the logging roads we go on. I have a 2006 that I've had tires off the ground on it, going through some of the spots up there. So this truck's taking that truck's place. This will be my new woods truck, and I want to be able to flex this out and have a nice comfortable ride. My 2006 a 1-ton with a G56 in it, and although you can do it, it gets uncomfortable after 8-9 days in the woods up hunting. Your left leg starts to hurt and your butt starts to hurt. So that's the whole point of doing everything to this truck. I know everyone's doing lift kits on the newer trucks and replacing these old trucks for new ones, but I still think this is still my favorite truck Dodge has made, and I'll never sell this truck. This is one of the trucks I'll keep forever. So I'm really happy with the way it's turning out. But that's probably gonna be the end for a while. I don't know if this will be the end of this video or not, but there's gonna be a couple week break in work getting done, unfortunately. So I will see you guys later. Haven't been able to film many updates for you guys. I've been working on it at night, so there's really nothing that you guys are gonna be able to see, just because I'm working with flashlights and stuff. But the truck is pretty much put back together. So the bumper's on. Here's a bumper. It's an ARB winch bumper. Had it for years on the truck. The winch is out of it right now because it needs rebuilt, but the winch is going in. It's got a Warren 12,000 pound winch. But the third track bar, I don't really remember where I left off. So third track bar is in with the 3rd gen conversion plate. Steering's in, alignment's done. Coils, shocks, everything's in. Control arms are in. These are from Core 4x4. Awesome. Highly recommend them. Super fast shipping too. They built them, powder coated them, had them out my door in 5 days. So that's awesome. I did new hubs and new rotors and pads. Pads were pretty worn down, so I just put brand new rotors in. All brand new rotors, new unit bearing assemblies up front and everything. So pretty much the whole front end's brand new, except for the tie rods and stuff, which they are on the list, but they don't have any play right now. I just don't know how long they're gonna last, but that's next. Bumper's on. The bumper is just painted with black steelite. I really like it. It's easy to touch up. I didn't want to rhino line this, or powder bed line it, just because it's easy to touch up when I rub up against stuff up in the woods. So, but yeah, as I was saying, all new rotors, wheel bearings, track bar, control arms, springs, shocks. That's all good. For the tires, show you guys tires. These are Method NVs in a 17 by 8.5, 0 offset. And then the tires are a Nitto Ridge Grappler 37 13/5/17. They fit perfect. There's a little, they touch the edge of the fender right there when you turn. So we're probably just gonna cut it right across here, and we're just gonna take all this off just for when it flexes. But you could drive it on the street just fine. When you turn, it just barely clips that little edge. But other than that, that's the only issue there. The cover plate's off because the winch has to go in. Should have the winch on here in a couple weeks. I gotta get that rebuilt. And then here's the rear. Rear fits nice, plenty of clearance, front and rear, everything's. I'm really happy with the way the truck turned out. It was never gonna be this. I was just gonna paint it, put a leveling kit on it, throw some 35s, call it good. But I figure if I'm gonna take it all apart, I might as well do the suspension I want, tires and rims I want, and just go all out on it. In here, you'll notice these silver rings on side the drums. These tires and rims aren't balanced. We're gonna give these are Centromatics. They're made by a company called Centromatic. They're balancing rings. They go on your hubs, and they look like there's a plate and then there's a ring on the backside, and it has a fluid and then weights that float inside there. So as you're driving, once you get above 20 miles an hour, they self-balance. And they started on semi trucks, so we're gonna see how they work. They balance duals on semis with these, so they should work just fine. We're gonna try them out. If we need to balance tires and rims, we will. But I wanted just a real clean rim look, no weights or anything. The rims are ceramic coated also. The truck will be ceramic coated once. It's got to get wet sanded one more time, polished, waxed, all that. So once it gets buffed and polished again, it'll get ceramic coated. But for now, the truck is pretty much ready. I'm gonna start building the rear bumper right now. That's what I'm working on now, is the rear bumper. So I'll film that for you guys. I'm gonna do full video on start to finish on the rear bumper. So I'll take you guys along on that, and we're gonna get started on that now.